Okay, welcome to this edition of First Thought Wrong. I'm Johnny. We have Austin, we have Brian, and we have a guest here today, Fran, who is a friend and a local business owner of Shanti Wellness. And I'm really excited about this. Our podcast. We talk about a lot of different things here: recovery, mental health, things like that. So, learning about the holistic things that you guys do. So we'll start off. Let's. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Fran Candelaria. I am a resident of Munster, Indiana. I relocated here 23 years ago. So I'm from Cleveland. I'm always going to be a Cleveland girl.
Cleveland rocks.
Yep. And that's part of my recovery story too, because I got sober first in Cleveland. But my husband and I own the Shanti Wellness Center in Munster, Indiana, which encompasses massage therapy, Reiki, craniosacral, Thai massage, yoga, meditation. At one point we had counseling. Now we've added acupuncture, which is lovely. She's a wonderful practitioner. And so in one roof, we have a ton of healing modalities for people seeking peace.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a mom. I have two kids of my own, 22 and 18, college graduates, high school graduates this year. So it's a big year for our family. And I have a stepson, Luca, who had a baby this last year, and he's relocated. He's doing great, and things are good.
That's awesome. So what got you started in the holistic world?
I discovered yoga when I was 16 years old. A friend of mine was taking yoga at a ballet studio in the late 80s. And there was no internet. There was none of that stuff. And she had brought home a book from the library, and I just started looking through it. I started just practice the shapes. And then I went to the library, and I got my own book, and I'd bring it home and practice the shapes. I grew up in a home that was kind of, I was a latchkey kid, right? So, and I was an athlete, a high school athlete, which then became a college athlete. I played volleyball in college, which is also part of my recovery story. But I've always been in health in some form. So 9 varsity letters in high school kind of gives you an indication that I was a little obsessed with working out, right? Running, playing volleyball, all the things. And it was just a way for me to burn the energy off. I was a very active kid, the baby of 6. So that's how I got into yoga. But how I became a massage therapist was I had received a massage when I was 19 years old, just a gift somebody had given me. And that was the first time being in my body that I received human touch in a non-sexual, compassionate, healing way. And I left that experience, dropped out of college, and went to massage school. I flew out to California. I was going to go to Berkeley and go to the massage school out there, but I got scared, so I came back to Cleveland, and then I went to the National Institute of Massotherapy in Cleveland. Eventually, I ended up going back to school for my bachelor's and then my master's, but that is how I got into massage. Now, how did all this other stuff come to be? I met my husband when I was 28, and for his 50th birthday, he was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, throat cancer. So his life kind of changed, and then my life changed as a result of that. And in his recovery process from cancer, he went to teacher training, and he became a yoga teacher. And then he would meet with this guy named Steve, who's since passed away of cancer as well. And they came up with our business plan. And that is how Shanti Wellness came to be. So Ray never went back to the job that he had before the cancer. And he put this business a thought into a plan, and Shanti Wellness became it in 2018. At that point, I lost my job for the school that closed down. I was with them for 16 years. And I just came on board at our business full time. So both my husband and I are in that business together.
And he is awesome. He is
Thanks.
awesome. I've done yoga a few times at your studio, and I'm horrible, but I'm trying.
You're not horrible.
But I did it
There's
with
no such thing.
did it with Ray on Saturday, and he swore that he wasn't going to beat us up. I felt pretty beat up though.
That
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. What do you think, Brian? Have you experienced yoga?
I haven't. My flexibility is not there due to some injuries and stuff, so I don't have the confidence
Well,
that
hopefully
I could do
today.
it.
Hopefully
But
today
you
we're
do
going to
like wearing the yoga pants, though.
Absolutely.
I know you're wearing jeans today, but usually
Well,
got
I
the
figure for
leggings
the
on
camera.
and everything else.
And you've done the yoga stuff.
I love
before.
yoga. Yeah.
Yeah. Right before we started, he was touching his toes.
And he really touched his toes.
Yeah.
Palms to the ground. Anything else is a waste of time.
So in talking about, the mental health aspect of holistic healing, and maybe you can define holistic healing. I think it's something that it heals the whole self or something along those lines.
Well, when I think holistic healing, I think mind, body, and spirit. Emotional health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health. And yoga regulates the nervous system. Massage therapy regulates the nervous system. Meditation regulates the nervous system. So the perspective that I bring to the table in terms of those modalities is that we're all just regulating our nervous system. And I also believe that we need each other to walk through those journeys together, because there's always something to learn. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, I learn something from somebody. I'm sure I'm going to learn something here today.
I don't know about that.
No, I will.
And I like that because it is just science. In my own recovery, that was something when I realized that a lot of these like early yogis, like the Yoga Sutras and stuff like that, like it resets sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Like there's a direct route to biology, which is cool. I don't think enough people talk about that. I think everyone gets caught up in the woo-woo. But in reality, it's like there's a very functional purpose to this.
Well, the functional purpose, just to break it down to just breath and movement, when you breathe and you move, you're yoking or unioning, if that's a word, two things together. And that is the definition of yoga. So just bringing the mind and the breath and the body together in movement. Or it could be the mind and a mantra. Mm-hmm. It could be a mind and a prayer, like your mind and a prayer. It's all just about what you're focusing on to get out of, we call chitta, which is the really wild monkey mind. Our minds are so active. So the process of yoga brings us to single-mindedness. Like, what is my one focus? What is the mantra? Man meaning man, train meaning tra meaning train. What is the one thing I'm focusing on? And in recovery circles, we perhaps focus on the serenity prayer. Mm-hmm. Or we focus on the 3rd-step prayer, 7th-step prayer, the St. Francis of Assisi prayer, whatever it is, or just let them, let God, let go, whatever it is. In my yoga world, not that those are separate, because they're not, they're completely intertwined. A mantra that I might focus on might be something as simple as, I am peace. I am peace. And once you repeat something over and over and over again, your body, the cells in your body feel that. Mm-hmm. You become that. Just like when people say I'm a piece of shit, you become that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
See, I think that's so big. That's just so big because, this is positivity, and we are in a world surrounded by negativity, and our minds become these crazy melting pots of negativity.
What you're watching?
Anxiety, of course. Anxiety is fear of the future. And sitting there rattling in my mind, predicting events, and my fortune teller glass ball, it's broken. I'm no good at predicting future events. And then depression, of course, the fear of the past. Yep. And we sit and think of our regrets. We sit and we think of all the things that we should have done, could have done, would have done, but didn't. And it's just this overwhelming negativity. And when we talk mental health, when we talk, we're just, the therapists of the world are making a fortune right now because, everybody's on some sort of antidepressant when in all actuality, this is the holistic, experience is the best antidepressant around. I've been doing this, and it's wonderful. And while I'm in there, I don't think of the negative stuff in the world. I think of not falling down because I know my balance isn't so great, but it leads to, another hour after I leave of just feeling good and feeling good about myself and,
Connection.
and connecting and all of the things that the yogi said, and just bringing that home with me. And it's phenomenal. So, that's why I was really excited for you to be on here, because what we talk about, a few weeks ago, we had one of our friends, Brittany, on here. She told her story, and, it was so big, so impactful. And, and hearing these stories in the recovery circle, it's just, I think as much as we all need meetings, we all need that external source as well. We got to continuously search for more spirituality.
Connection. And I wanted to pull this up because this caught my attention a few years ago when I've seen it. That says, I wanted to look up the guy's name, Masaru Emoto, the guy in Japan. The guy just basically set out these vials of water, and he spoke to them. One, he hate speech. The other, I love you. I love you. And then they did I think some sort of topical spectrometry to like look up what sort of form they created, and we could put this in the thumbnail or something. But look at the difference between those. Like, that's the love, that's the hatred. It breaks the geometry of that which is sacred.
I like that too, because what you said about like the I am, the gentleman you met earlier, Nico, I talk to him all the time, trying to teach him the power of I am. And he doesn't agree with it. But, when I'm in the car on a daily basis, I do the I am strong, I am powerful, I am courageous, I am this, I am that. Even if I don't believe it, my body takes ownership of it. And I've been trying to convey that message to him. And I wish he was sitting here when you just said that, because I do it all the time.
Body will hold on to it. I bet you've done countless massages where you get in a severe emotional reaction thereafter. You almost massage out all of those emotions that have been tied into the cells.
Perfect example with me and Marissa. I came out a different human being.
He was a different was a different.
Yep.
The energy around him was different. His every single thing about you, it was insanity to me.
Yeah.
As a massage therapist, I am so grateful to still do this work. I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm just so grateful. Yesterday, I work with people who I have set intentions for body work. So, for instance, if somebody were to come into me, I would say, so what brings you here today? Like, how can I help you? How can I make things a little lighter for you? And then there'll usually be a story, and I'll say, okay, well, what intention would you like to set for this session? It might be a massage, it could be cranial sacral, it could be Reiki, it could be sound healing, but what is the intention that you want to set? And then we'll come up with a very simple statement like, I am aligned. I am fearless. I am balanced. I am peace. And when I'm working on that person, my role now becomes to literally imprint those words on their body with the healing modalities that I do, the energy medicine that I happen to be gifted. So, just constantly be just placing those words on this body temple. And usually most people say when they leave sessions with me or any other person that they just feel lighter. They just feel lighter. There's less burden on them. And for me, I get massaged twice a month. I receive a Reiki treatment once a month. I do cranial sacral once a month. I practice yoga. Like, it is just, my tool belt is full of lots of different things. And what I love, and we're doing a podcast, this is my second time doing one of these in this section of my recovery, in this chapter in this book of my recovery. But in the 90s, there was no internet. There was no podcast. There was, all you had was the big book and people in rooms with lots of cigarettes. And I was right there smoking them with them, huge, like, let's say 100 people in the basement of a church in downtown Cleveland. Like, everyone's smoking. If you're not smoking, then you shouldn't even be in the room, because you're going to have the smoke all around you. But anyways, and that changed. So when I came back and decided to get sober in 2016, I did not want to go back to the rooms. Instead, I looked up podcast, and I found a podcast called The Recovery Elevator. And I went to Planet Fitness, and I literally walked on the treadmill every night for like an hour just listening to these podcasts. And then I found a guy out of California. His name is escaping me. And I listened to every talk he had, and he was a guy in recovery and a yogi. God, I can't remember his name. But anywho, but then that just wasn't enough. In those early days, man, you need support, you need help. And I wasn't a candidate for rehab. At least I didn't think I was. And so I eventually ended up wandering into a room. Where did I go? I went to a room, a basement in Griffith, and it turned out to be a lead for Al-Anon. So that was interesting. Then my first meeting back was an Al-Anon lead. But anywho, as the universe would have it, on a Tuesday night at the Faith Church in Munster, I ended up meeting my sponsor for today, and she is also one of my healers. She's one of my angels. She's gifted me so much peace and so much love, and she's led me in a way that my soul needs. And I mean, who would have known that I would have met her out of all the people? You know, she's the one for me. So that's pretty cool, you know?
That brings up a great topic, about kind of individuality. Nobody did drugs the same. Nobody drank exactly the same. There's no two same people. Therefore, there can never be any same recovery. I mean, we all get sober from different steps and books and and some people get sober from, I feel so bad for the COVID people. People who needed to get sober during COVID, it's
brutal.
I couldn't have done it. I went to a meeting every day for 2 years. That was my beginning
COVID
of my
kind of
sobriety.
threw me off schedule for meetings. I mean, I'm one of those, I was really consistent, and then COVID happened, and the online thing happened, and then the online thing stopped happening for me, and now it's just like, I'm good, but I know exactly where I need to go. Thursday nights, Tuesday nights, Saturday mornings. I know exactly where to go.
But honest to God, if you had told me 20 years ago when I got sober that I'd be going to yoga and, doing a podcast and talking about how great holistic healing is, I'd have told you you're crazy, because I was very close-minded, very,
Limp
just
Bizkit.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I saw him at the Hard Rock a couple years ago.
Fred. Shout out Fred.
Shout out to Fred.
Did you guys go?
I did not. But
It was so good.
to be able to, open your mind to these new ideas and these new things. And you have to do that when you get sober initially. You have to be able to throw out the idea that alcohol and drugs are the end all be all. And they were that for a long time. That's the biggest fear of getting sober, I think, is, losing your best friend and what you count on the most. So now I have to count on something else, and I have to count on, the fellowship and count on the steps and, and everybody,
And Sangha, community that you create in yoga spaces, or in your case, on Facebook, that is your Sangha, though all those 2.3 million people. That's your community.
Yep.
You created that, and you heal in that space. But not everybody used for the same reasons either. So like the recovery looks different. Like I know for myself, trauma is a big part of my story. And I'm not afraid to talk about it. I mean, it just literally it changed me. I mean, the experiences I had from in childhood through my early 20s changed me. And I'm 50 and I'm just finally understanding it. Like I'm understanding the magnitude that they had on me. And that's only because I've been able to get proper help, to be able to go to safe spaces. I'm talking outside the rooms with a therapist and be able to talk about like what's really going on in my mind. What are my fears? How do I get through this? What else do I need to do? Is there a medication? What do I need to do?
And it just compounds. It's the tiny, it's the root ball of the tree. But so much grows from it. That's the part.
So much grows from it.
And you don't realize because it's the subtleties. It always lies in the subtleties. And you have all these different behaviors and thoughts and ideas and stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, not realizing that somebody else actually whispered it to us and we just believed it as truth.
Yeah. But like if you take the imagery of a tree, for instance, I mean, I love nature. I love trees, but you just take a beautiful tree and you're staring right at it and you look at the beauty of the tree. We see where it connects to the earth. And then all those roots, you have no idea how far down they go. You have no idea what they connect with in the earth. But every single part of that tree made that tree beautiful. Every part of it. The darkest parts, the highest parts, the lowest parts, the most magnificent parts. Everything made that tree exactly what it is. And
You know it. Say it. What's the quote? The Carl Jung quote. What's the quote?
I don't know that
Oh, my
one,
God.
but I was thinking if the ties that bind us together are stronger than those that would tear us apart, all will be well.
So you're going to hit it. You're always bringing up. But basically, the Carl Jung quote I might butcher is that only when the roots extend to the depths of hell may the branches reach the heights of heaven, or something to that effect,
amen.
which is a banger. The
I mean,
tree.
you have to know the darkness to value the
Yeah.
light.
Tree. I feel like the tree is probably the most widely used. It's everywhere.
It's going to be my next tattoo, I have a
Symbolism.
feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so one other question is, and this is going to be kind of over encompassing, but if you meet somebody who's closed minded, who says that this holistic stuff's a bunch of hooey, what do you say to them? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. That's
Well, honestly,
it's just because
How do you
want
force them into submission so that they hear the message that you...
honestly, I want people
You
to hear.
don't.
I want people to hear this who
don't.
are closed-minded and are thinking right now, like, why am I still listening to this? I want them. I want you to be able to say something to them that says this shit works.
Well, okay. I didn't get sober to feel like shit. Okay. So one of the things that I know is these tools work for me. So if somebody's closed-minded and they don't, I mean, all I could really say is just, have you tried it? Like, have you tried it? Have you sat down and actually tried to focus on your breath for 1 minute? I mean, we talk about meditation, right? In the 12 steps, it's one of the steps. But do we really know what we're doing? Like, or are we complicating all that? But just to bring yourself back to yourself. Why is that such a bad idea?
Why is it so terrifying?
Why
I
is it so
think that's-
terrifying? Yeah, like
that's the reality.
this is you came in this physical form and you are going to leave the body of this physical form. And if you feel like shit in your everyday life and what you're doing isn't working, you have to try something else. You owe it to yourself. That's how I felt about this tattoo that I have on my wrist says spirit led. And one of the birth of this particular phrase is when I was suffering with alcoholism or alcohol abuse disorder, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't sleep at night. Like every night I'd wake up and I was just so full of anguish, and I would wake up and I'd be crying and I'd go downstairs and I'd light a candle and I'd just sit on my yoga mat and just pray, God, please, please, I just want to feel better. And it wasn't the volume that I drank. It was just the simple fact that I can't drink. Of course I drank a lot, but my brain doesn't process alcohol well. It is an allergy, right? So it affects all parts of me. And so anywho, one of those nights I'm crying and this, I call it a spiritual awakening. It was this moment where this presence just said, quit everything, everything. And trust me, you are spirit-led. You are spirit-led.
It's like a command.
You are spirit-led. Yes.
But it doesn't feel bossy.
No, it was like the most heavenly, fatherly
Trust.
hug I could have gotten that I didn't get, right? And so I started to write that in Sharpie on my forearm. And I hadn't had a tattoo since my first tattoo was, I was 18. And I had never gotten another one again. And then I started to write this one on my arm. And then I got this like in August. And by December, I was sober. So that's pretty cool.
Marked with intention.
Yeah.
I'm with you. That wasn't the same
And of
thing.
course,
Was
I
never
went to a
alone.
meeting one time, and this woman looked at it, and she goes, "Spirit, girl, you better get that thing taken off of you." Like this, like a drink, a spirit. I'm like, no, I don't think you fully understand.
I am a big proponent of, give yourself a chance. Anybody I talk to, whether you're a newcomer or an old timer. I don't think we talk about that enough. How the old timers can continue to grow as well. And it took me 20 years to read in Sermon on the Mount one phrase that changed my whole
What
life.
was that?
It's blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And those who don't know Sermon on the Mount, it's Emmett Fox wrote, Jesus' teaching, and it is whether you believe Jesus is the Messiah or just a really good dude, this is what he said and this is what it means. And blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth means blessed are those seeking spirituality, for they shall inherit serenity.
Serenity.
And since I've read that, I have, really changed my life. And, I've begun going to church and becoming an active member of church and going to yoga. And really, not only am I going, but I want to go a lot and I want to do well.
He's talking about it all the time.
And I'm going to get Austin to go with me. But I'm going to be pissed off because he's a lot younger than I am. And he's going to be able to do like flexible things. And I'm going to be pissed.
We stay
And
in
I'm
the
gonna
four
push him
corners
over.
of our own mat. We don't compare.
Yeah.
We just don't. Just like you don't compare recovery. with
I'll
other
hold
people.
the pose so you can get that full comparison.
Look at you, see?
Oh my God.
You see what I got to deal with? I'm going to put him on the other side of the room.
I'm just going to be doing yoga. You're going to be doing the comparing.
We talk about practicing the pause, right? Like just putting space between. Well, the name of this podcast is "Your First Thought is Wrong," right?
Yeah.
What that means to me is we have to practice the pause. And one of the tools that mindfulness, yoga, meditation, and even in my case, massage and Reiki and healing energies gives us is the practicing of the pause, putting something else between your thought and an action. It could be a breath, and that's all it needs to be actually. It could be a word, it could be a phrase, it could be service, but we have to put something between that. Because left to our own devices, right, we're probably going to do the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's why it's the when it was broken down to me, it blew my mind. I never thought about it this way. Very similar to what you're talking about. When someone who I very much respect was teaching me about the Om, he was saying, it's Om. And he like held there. I was like, what do you mean? He said, the silence is as much a part of the Om as the Om.
Om is chanted in 4 syllables. Ah, O, and silence.
Yeah.
And the silence is actually where the reverberation, the healing affect the body. Now, there are aspects of the sound that change and they reverberate in your system and they stimulate that vagus nerve and in it, I can go on and on and on. But Om is truly the universal sound. And when we chant Om, we're chanting in unity. It's a beautiful thing. We Om.
We do.
Schumann's residence.
I'm a big fan of this Om stuff. It is, I'm telling you, you feel
It'll
good.
change your life. Chanting mantras like the first years of
Yes.
recovery, I think permanently changed me.
Which mantras did you chant?
A lot of them. A lot of like Kali-based mantras. That was my jam for a while. I didn't know I picked the most painful one. Picked the most painful path, the most tumultuous. But I feel like it chose me in a way. But there's I don't know. There's quite a few that I liked
Yeah.
a lot. And then my like Bij mantra that was given to me,
Nice.
that which I am never supposed to say out loud, but I definitely have.
Yeah, you can even take this whole conversation into all that, into bhakti yoga, into yoga of devotion, into chanting and kirtan. And I know a woman in our area, Alyssa, she's trying to put together kirtans. She practices with us and she teaches with us. Her and I have thought about doing them together, but she's taken that on. She has one coming up on the 15th of March, I believe. It's a Saturday.
Okay, so pardon my ignorance, but what are all these words you're saying? Kirtans and...
A kirtan is just like a call and response. So what happens is people get together, just like we're doing right here, and then somebody would kind of we're all getting together with a common reason, and that is probably of devotion, like of love or whatever it is. And then we find a mantra, or whoever's leading the kirtan is going to be leading it, and then we would be repeating it. So, for instance, I might lead a song, and the mantra might be like Om Shanti 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 Om, and I would lead that. And
That's
then,
a banger, by the way.
and
That's
then-
Vedanta.
yeah, and so then I would sing it or say it, and then eventually, if you're feeling called to, you would then start to say it and repeat it. And then over time, we just repeat those over and over and over again, and then eventually all you're thinking about is that. And that has a vibration, that has a meaning, that has a cellular reaction in your body.
Creates resonance in your magnetic field.
Yes. Yeah.
And it compounds the more people are together. It's kind of like groupthink, right? Like, you get like I like to think of it like, you ever been like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of fan bases that are strong, like the Cubs when they won the World Series. You could feel that. It's palpable. Everyone with the same intent, with the same dream.
You get chills.
Yeah.
You get,
or
it's
music.
amazing.
You'll get music will be like, when we saw Blank the first time, it was like out of my body. It was like I wasn't even here. I think that the good things can create that. They
And
can.
this is why we're really good friends, because he explains things to me in Blink 182. That's all I need. That's all I need.
Goddamn.
What do you think about all this, Brian? You're awfully quiet.
He's
with
online
this.
with all of this. He knows. That's why when he first got clean, he just kept doing this shit. And I saw this guy just on Facebook just talking about, you know what, today, like you had just gotten out of jail or something. I was, you know what I mean? You're in a terrible spot, yet here's this guy just talking about how today I'm choosing to be grateful and this, and I'm this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to quit. And there's something about that. So people admire that. So I was telling you last night, I had a whole conversation about him with somebody else who's trying to get it together. And they were like, how do I be like Brian? I'm like, well, you picked one of the better people I think early in recovery you could choose to try and be like. Positive no matter what, even when it sucks. Just constant reaffirmation.
Sometimes we have to gaslight ourselves, you know? I mean, for real. Like, I was working out at the YMCA yesterday, and I was front row, so I was right at the mirror, and there I was. Like, everything that was wrong with me, I was seeing, right? So I decided, like, about 20 minutes into it, I was like, I'm strong. And so every time I'd be doing this thing, I'm strong. And then my negative mind would come on and be like, maybe I should contact a plastic surgeon. Then I go down that path, and I'm still doing these bicep curls, but I'm like, no, wait, no, I'm strong. So I had to gaslight myself.
Yeah.
And then I got home and I shared that with my daughters. Like, I mean, my whole journey has been shared with my family, my husband and my children. They know all parts of it. And it's also helped them, I believe.
They have to make peace with it. Because otherwise, if you allow room for speculation with children, I've always done that with Rocco. Dude, I talk to him straight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't go into the depths of I was stealing this. And it's like, but hey, dude, I didn't know how to live without putting something in my body to feel different. Because I also want him to know he's 13.
Yeah. Oh, that's the time.
Yeah. You got to know.
What I thought of, like when you talked about the open-mindedness, right? And what she would say, you asked her, what would you say with somebody that struggles with open-mindedness? My thought was, what do you got to lose?
What do you have to lose?
Because what my life was prior to entering recovery was a lot of pain.
Yep.
Was a lot of darkness, trauma, in some, I was a willing participant. I recreated a lot of the same traumas that I was trying to escape with the use of drugs. So it was like, I just didn't quit. I kept doing the uncomfortable things, the things I wasn't familiar with, right? What did I have to lose? Because left to my own devices, right? I burnt my life to the ground over and over again. So if it takes breath work or, calling somebody and getting vulnerable, whatever it was, I was willing to do it because, what did I have to lose?
Yeah.
And like the spiritual awakening thing too, I was very close-minded when it came to that because I didn't understand it for one. And people always described it as like a singular event that happened. And like, boom, I'm fixed. Well, from my experience, I've had countless spiritual awakenings where I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It continues to happen. And like I had shared with Austin one day, it's just all these things were happening in my life all along. I was just too clouded by the drugs and alcohol to be aware of it. And a lot of people talk about the pink cloud of recovery, right? And this is what I said. I get to hang on to that pink cloud as long as I want to, as long as I do the esteemable next right thing, right? Live in some gratitude. It's not, momentum's not a magical force that just keeps going. And I'm like, oh, life's great today. I get to be grateful today. No, I've got to do the things consistently over and over again. I get to keep that pink cloud. That pink cloud lasts as long as I want it to, as long as I put the work in necessary.
Just like your tattoo, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like no matter what. And life is not easy. It's just not. I mean, there are highs and there are lows. It is not an easy journey.
Why do we think, for some reason, I feel like everyone always, you feel like it's going to be, like it should be easy.
Oh.
I did, at least. Like, this shouldn't be so hard. This shouldn't be so difficult. I shouldn't have been treated that way. I think getting out of that should, could, would is it's a different thing. At least I did. I don't know why. I often think that, why wouldn't it be easier?
In today's class, the theme that I was trying to weave in and out was just living in enoughness. That like it's everything you are right now is enough. Now, is there work to get to where you want to go? Yeah. But right now it is enough. You have clothes on your body. You're breathing air. I have 2 beverages to choose from here. You guys have multiple types of vapes in this room.
I don't, but they do. They definitely do. I don't,
Brian
clearly.
does. Brian does.
Oh, Brian has a few.
It's my fault.
Yeah. Jim Rome always said it. Why not? Why not you? Why not now?
And then, but before I got sober, I read a book called Why Me, Why This, Why Now?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So,
There you go.
I mean, it's just a shift in the perspective. There's something that I think somebody said that it had me think of something, but I can't remember it now.
You know, I do have one more question, and it's, what is Reiki?
Oh, Reiki, Rei means universal life energy. So Reiki is universal life energy. And persons who are Reiki practitioners just receive an attunement for level 1, level 2, or level 3. Those are the 3 levels of Reiki. And so what we are conduits for healing. That's it. They just, this energy moves through us, and we hold space for people to heal. I never refer to myself as a healer. I am simply a person who holds space for healing, because that is way beyond me.
It's like a conduit.
It's a conduit. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so what happens during Reiki? Like, if we had a Reiki appointment, what would happen? I'm
That's a
intrigued.
great question. And, Reiki is so magical. But if you were to come in for a session, I would prepare the room. So kind of clear the room a little bit. And then you would come in and we'd kind of establish some session goals. What would you like to focus on? And if you said, I don't know, that's a goal too, right? Something might be revealed later. And then as a Reiki practitioner, we have a set of places that we kind of just move around the body with our hands. Some people touch the body. Some people have hands above the body. It just depends. And then it's about a 45-minute to an hour session. And most people leave that experience feeling so much lighter than when they came in.
So it's a lot of energy.
Well, we are energy.
Energy is phenomenal.
That's cool.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. And my sponsor, she is also my Reiki master teacher. I mean, I'm so blessed. I can't even tell you how blessed I am to have all these healers in my path. And, in this recovery journey, since COVID, I've had 3 major deaths. And, it hasn't been easy. But the one thing I've learned in the yoga world is that the breath, the lungs are where we store the grief. And the more you can understand the power of exhaling and deeply inhaling, the more you're able to release that grief from your body.
What would be, because we're running up on the time, what would be one like walk away simple exercise that you think could benefit people that might be watching?
Just to literally find a space in your home just to sit down, put down your phone, maybe put a timer on your phone for 4 minutes, let's say, and just inhale and exhale for several minutes until your timer goes off. You're not doing anything else. Just inhale and exhale. But really feel the breath. Feel the breath move in the lungs, the belly expand, and then feel the breath leave the body. And then you could add things to that. Perhaps you light a candle and you stare at that candle while you're doing your breath work. Or maybe you light an incense. Or maybe you write a prayer and you put that down. But literally just stop what you're doing, sit and breathe.
And if you get distracted,
You come right back.
there we go.
But distraction is part of the journey. So
Yes.
getting distracted is actually
You're doing it.
the best thing, because that's going to teach you to go back to. And yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that-
this
that
has
would be
been
it.
amazing, Fran, and thank you so much. So
Thank you.
informative. You
Thank
have
you.
so much knowledge.
Thank
Shanti Wellness, if anybody is, and we'll put if we can put the website.
Yeah, we'll put the link and
all
Thank
everything
you.
and get that plugged
Um,
in there.
And we have a sponsor, is Never Alone Recovery. Brian, you want to give us a 30-second Never Alone Recovery and the phone number?
Yes. So, Never Alone Recovery, we help those struggling with addiction, whether you need sober living, detox, inpatient, if you need to be connected to a recovery coach or a therapist, we can connect you with all of those resources, regardless of your ability to pay, whether you have no insurance, state insurance, private insurance, we can help you with all of that. Our number is 1-855-831-9996.
Thank you, Brian. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you
And-
so much.
And next time, Austin's coming with me, and you can beat him up too.
Friday at 9.
Okay, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I could be Reiki right now.
They already did it.
Well,